In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do this in Minecraft. Now this is a realistic New Year's ball drop in Minecraft. And yes, this is pretty cool. It's pretty similar to how they do it in real life, and this is extremely simple to build yourself. Anyways, let's get into it. Now starting off, I wanted to make this design as simple and as close to real life as possible. Now the main thing that I got rid of was the number counter. Now the number counter I got rid of because it was complex to do and I felt that this would look better. But obviously the number counter would have gone right over here, above the ad that normally plays for any advertisers that just want to advertise their stuff during this live broadcast. But obviously that would be too complex, having to either fit it in with here, not make a little design here, and obviously the redstone would be much more complex than this simple redstone that looks insanely good. So I'm going to briefly show you guys how this all works, and then I'm going to go into the tutorial. If you want to go straight into the tutorial, just skip ahead. There will be timestamps in the description, or if you actually move the bar, you can see what they are labeled as, and you can go through the chapters in that way. But anyways, let me show you a quick overview of what this is. First of all, we got the TV screen. Now the TV screen is projecting my logo currently, but obviously you can make this do whatever you want. Now this isn't necessarily needed, but this requires no redstone, and it looks insanely cool as a TV screen, and I think it adds to the build. Now this one is pretty simple. It actually uses the fog trick that much people use, but instead of doing it on the ground with a lava, this is actually done just on a TV. Now, inside of this, it has 3 layers of glass with sea lanterns behind it. Now, the glass is spaced out so it doesn't connect, and it gives off this fog effect. If it is connecting, it won't give off the same effect. Now, for the other colors of glass, it is still blue glass behind them, but the front of it is colored. Now, that is to give off a more blue background to them as well, since these colors are normally darker. And it allows the illusion for, if you actually look onto this corner of the screen, that it's only up in the front rather than in the back, since all of that is still blue, which I feel like is pretty cool, and it makes it much simpler for you to gather these types of glass instead of having to gather a ton of each color. But obviously you can change that to whatever you want, and I won't really be providing a tutorial for this since it is not redstone and it's pretty simple of what to do. And obviously this is my logo, and you probably want to do something else. But after this TV screen, I'm going to show you guys the ball and the numbers. So starting off with the ball, since it starts off this whole thing. To actually turn it on, you start off with this button. Now this button leads up a redstone torch lamp going all the way up to the start of the ball. Now this will turn on a piston, which will push down a quartz block, which will activate this observer. This observer will start this piston, and then it will keep on going down like a flying machine does. This observer is actually looking into this, tracking for motion, so it is always on and putting a signal into this wall, which will turn on any lights that it follows down, which is pretty good. Now this goes down for 10 seconds in total, and once it hits the bottom, that is basically like the countdown from 10. Now some of them will obviously not match up, but obviously this is the best and simplest option that you could have done without having to build a huge number thing. But now moving on to the ball is attached by a sticky piston sticking onto the original flying machine, and it just has quartz all around it. I did a little bit of texturing here using quartz pillars instead of just regular smooth quartz, which I feel like is pretty cool. But obviously you don't need to do that. I just thought adding texture would look a little bit nice. But obviously once this is pushed down, it will start and it will go all the way down. Once it is actually down, the observer will actually start off this piston, launching this redstone block into all of the redstone. And it will stay there forever since this is a one-time use thing, but obviously you can fix it really easily by resetting this redstone block and then resetting this as well. Just break the top block and then place it back up at the start. But now, as you can see, once it enters here, it will do a few things. For one, it will trigger off these dispensers, which have the same fireworks in them. Flight duration 2, burst red, fade to yellow with a trail. Now those are a little bit complex to make, but I'll show you guys that in a few minutes. But obviously, if you don't want to make them, these can be any type of fireworks that you would like to make. It doesn't have to be those specific ones, but those are the ones that I've used in this demonstration. But as you can see, it also activates these numbers. These numbers are actually 3 by 3, and I tried to make them as simple and as recognizable as possible. Now the 2s were obviously hard to do, so I couldn't just do them directly with redstone lamps. I actually had to use some copper stairs and copper slabs. But obviously this can be any color that you would like. I feel like the copper just fits in though. So I did that. I made it like this: 3 on the top, a 1 going down, a copper stair, a 2, and then a copper slab. But you can easily copy it from here if you would like. But obviously you can customize this however you like. I just think this is the best 2 design that I could have done. But now, as you can see, the 20 and the 22, you may ask why are they separated, and that is because it allows the ball to drop in the middle, making it look a lot cooler. It also provides the ball to be centered, since the symmetry would be off by 1 if it was connected. And it also generally looks cooler. But now moving back onto the redstone actually connects it in such a way where it will turn on all of the lamps. Now that is a little bit complex, where it had actually slabs so that you could see through. I had to put glass, but where you couldn't see through, I just put redstone lamps to make it fit in. But you could do this however you would like. But I would recommend using glass where there is a slab, just because it looks so much better than if you were to put a redstone lamp there. As you can see, it looks really good, and you can barely notice it, especially with the building backgrounds. But obviously, you're going to want to fill these up with a redstone on top of them to hit all the lamps. Now, a cool thing with redstone lamps is it actually activates the ones around it, so that you don't actually have to cover all of it, making this really simple to do. As you can see, I only had to put 1 here, and it will turn on 2 of them, which is really good for this build. But I'll be going into how to do that a little bit later, but obviously you can do your redstone connecting on your own, but I'll be showing you guys mine. Now before we get into the redstone, I'll be showing you guys a quick demonstration on how this all comes together. So as you can see, we hit the button, the redstone torch line goes all the way up and pushes down the block. Now the block will actually push down all this. The observer will hit all the lights along the way until it gets to the bottom. Now once it hits the bottom, it will activate this piston which pushes this redstone block, and it activates all the dispensers, the lights, and everything, which turns into this amazing product with the ball still in the middle, clearly lit up by every light on the way, which is insanely cool to see as a final product, especially with the fireworks in the background. Now you can set it up to where it actually launches multiple fireworks, like more repeating, but obviously this is the simplest design, and it looks really cool doing those fireworks when it hits 2022. Now, obviously to reset it, all you need to do is break this top of the ball. Then you can reset the bottom of this by breaking the redstone block and placing it back here. Then go all the way up here and place the block right over there. And as you can see, it has been reset. Also, one more thing, for the pole, I built it just like this so that it would stop and everything doesn't break. So that's why it's in this staircase order at the end, just so that everything doesn't break. Now obviously it doesn't have to be this way, but I just did this to guarantee that it would not break even after multiple uses. And then obviously I put a little bit in the front to give the illusion that it is just a straight on pole when looking down. One more thing before I get started, I'm going to show you how it looks from the bottom because I feel like that is insanely cool to see. So I just hit this button, I get teleported over here, and I can see the ball drop. As you can see, it's a little bit shaky when you get to the bottom, but it's still pretty cool. And as you can see, everything happens, it lights up so it's clearly visible, and if you're close enough, you can actually see the fireworks launch off. But that time I wasn't close enough. But I feel like from any direction, it is pretty cool to look onto it. I'd say the best view is either far from it from the bottom, or just straight on from the top. Either way, it looks insanely cool, and I feel like this is a great ball drop. But anyways, besides all of that, let's actually get directly into the tutorial. Now, if you look at my inventory, this is roughly what you're gonna need. Obviously, I'm not giving specific numbers, but just assume what you're gonna need is like a list of these blocks. First of all, you're going to want to find a tall building or place that you want to do this on. Now, obviously, I did it on that building over there, which is pretty tall, but I'm going to be doing it on this building over here. So, what you're going to want to do first is once you find the building, what you're going to want to do is use the building, whichever blocks it actually uses, and build a platform off of it. Now, it doesn't have to be the building's blocks, but I feel like it makes it much more integrated with the building instead of it just being placed on top of it. So if you just do that, and obviously make it symmetrical to the building or to the floor, whichever you would like. So what you're going to want is a 15 block platform. So currently I only have 7, so what I'm going to want to do is... Now obviously make sure to count just to make sure that you have 15. The minimum is 13 for this, so if you don't have enough space for 15, then you should be fine with 13. But obviously, just make sure that you have enough space for your build. Now what you're going to want to do is have an 8 block width. So what you're going to want to do is extend this out a little bit. Now obviously, it could be a little shorter in width if you would like it, but I think this is a good width. And obviously, if you wanted to make it shorter, then you would have to hide some redstone inside the actual building, which I feel like would ruin the building a little bit. But now that you have this platform, take off the corner edges, just like so. And now it is time to make the numbers. The numbers will go over here, and first I'm going to be making the 2, which is pretty simple. It is just like this, and I'll just cut ahead since the 2's are all the same. And the numbers should look something like this. Make sure you have a space in the middle. Now, I will not be building the TV underneath this, but if you actually want to cap this off without doing a TV yourself, then you can just do something like this, integrate it with part of the building, try and make like little scaffolding pieces, just like so, just to make it look more stable and held up well, instead of just a floating platform above a building. So something like this would look pretty good, just like something holding it up. But now moving on to the pole, what you're going to want to do is go to the middle of this and then build from the 4th block. So 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that, and then build up 26 blocks. Now once you're at this height, build 5 forward. So just facing the numbers, build 5 closer towards them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like so. Then build 1 down on this one, and then make a little staircase, just like so for that one. And then what you're going to want to do is replace this middle block with a piston, just like so. Now once you have done with that, now time to build the redstone torch towers. So grab yourself a bunch of redstone torches and the top. Now what you're going to want to do is start from the top right here. So build 1 here, 1 there, and do it on every other block. And do that all the way until you reach this block. This block should be the 4th block up, just like so. Then once you're here, you can put a block right over here, and then a piston facing this way. Then, once you're done with that, place a redstone block there. So you should just have a redstone block just like so. Now for the redstone lamps. Now going from the top, the redstone lamp should line up with this. So it should be going straight down just like so, and put them on every other block. Now this should go all the way down to 10. So make sure that you're counting to 10 to make sure you are doing this right. It should basically line up with this block right over here. So just do this until you get down right over here to where the redstone torches stop. Just like that. So now it is actually time to make the ball. For this one, I'm going to be using iron and calcite just to mix it up a little bit. So first, you're going to want to place an observer with the face facing us. So just make it just like that. You might have to do a little bit of scaffolding blocks, but it should look like that. Then once you're done, place a sticky piston right over here. Now once you're done with that, place a slime block here, here, and here. Now after that, you can actually place in your ball. So obviously you can mix up the colors a little bit, but mine will look something like this. And make sure not to place the top one, but if you do, you can simply break it and it will fix it on its own. But place the top one up here, just like that. Now, once you're actually done with that, you're going to want to use a little bit of scaffolding blocks and place a sticky piston facing upwards, just like so. Now, once you're done with that, you're going to want to place an observer facing upwards. So you're going to obviously have to do a little bit of scaffolding once again, but once you have done that, you can actually make it facing upwards, just like so. The arrow should be facing upwards like that. Now, once you're done with that, make a sticky piston facing that slime block, so that the face is actually inside the slime block, as you can see right over there. But now, that is actually it for the ball. I told you this would be extremely simple. Now, that is actually it for the majority of the redstone machine. All you have to do now is actually add in the redstone, which is basically just connecting the lines. So grab a couple of redstone, I'd recommend probably about half a stack at most, and then obviously grab a button to start it off. Now it can be any kind of button that you want. So first up, connect the redstone that is connecting up to the start of the machine, just like so. Then once you're down here, you can implement your button by putting it on the side right here, or you could hook up some redstone going all the way down to wherever you want to view it from. But I just think a button here is probably the simplest, especially if you're doing this in creative. But in survival, I would recommend you have some sort of system with a repeater facing into this block and make a redstone line going to a viewing platform like another building. But obviously after that, it is time to connect up the redstone. So you can grab any scaffolding block. I'm going to be using redstone lamps and glass for this one, just to make it fit in like I did with the last one. So first of all, you're going to want to connect the redstone here so that it actually starts up there. You're also going to want to grab some dispensers for this, obviously, because you're going to need the fireworks as well. Now fireworks go like this. It can be in any order, it doesn't really matter, it doesn't have to be specific, but I line it up with the numbers, going 2 away, then a dispenser, then 1, then a dispenser in this kind of little curved order. Then I just duplicate that on the other side as well, just something like this, but obviously fix wherever I messed up. Just like that. Now you just connect the redstone over it. Obviously it doesn't have to be in any specific way, it will all turn out the same anyways. Just obviously the better you do your redstone lining, the less redstone that you use, and the better it will actually look. And remember to put glass over slabs so that they don't see the redstone lamps that you may be using for scaffolding. So if I want to reach somewhere up here, I would just do this, then I would place glass here. Or even better, I could connect up here with I can connect up the redstone line using this. Now to test this out, you can actually move the redstone block just like so that you can see how much redstone you are affecting. And once I get up here, I can connect this redstone line all the way down. Now make sure it is reaching. You can obviously use repeaters to make sure that it reaches as far as you would intend it to. But obviously if you don't want to use some repeaters since it is too expensive, you can just connect up the redstone lines in multiple ways. But obviously repeaters may look better and they'll allow the redstone to reach much farther. So by doing something like this, I can reach a lot of places, and I can also connect up a lot of things like this and that. So that is only one line done, and I use barely any redstone. Now for the second line, I obviously want to do the same thing with the repeater, and then I connect up the redstone as well. So just keep on doing this for each line, and it doesn't really matter how you do it. I'm not doing it any specific order, I'm just doing it the way that I feel like it will light up the best. So I just did something like that, and this looks pretty good. Obviously you won't be looking at it from the top, so you won't see any of that redstone, and it looks pretty well lit. So all I have to do is simply move the redstone block back, and we should be fine. The next thing is the fireworks. Now I'll be showing you guys how to do my fireworks, but obviously do them any way that you would like, since my fireworks are pretty expensive to do. So to make these fireworks is actually pretty simple. First of all, place down a crafting table and get everything that I have in my inventory. Now you obviously don't need this much, it depends how much rockets that you actually want to make. Now since it is only activating it at one time, you can just make as little as you want, making one for each, which is basically using 2 of everything for each crafting thing I do. So just keep that in mind. But what you want to do first is place a gunpowder, then place a dye right here, then a diamond, which I know is pretty expensive, but then add a feather. and it should be a burst red trail firework star. Now obviously it is expensive, so I wouldn't recommend making a ton of these, but once you have it, just add a yellow dye just like so. But now that you have that, what you want to do is place this here, then place a piece of paper, a gunpowder, and then what you're going to want to do is place another gunpowder. And as you can see, for all of that, it makes 3 rockets with flight duration 2, burst red, fade to yellow with a trail. Now for that, I've used 1 of everything plus 3 gunpowder. So keep that in mind whenever crafting these. But since I'm creative, I can easily just duplicate that. And you're going to want to put these in each one, so make sure that each one has some fireworks. At least 1 for each since they only set off once, but obviously if you're good at Redstone or just watch a tutorial, you can know how to set it off multiple times. It's pretty simple to do just with observers or any type of machine that you would like to make. But once you've done that, you are actually all done. I'd recommend getting rid of the crafting table and any other scaffolding blocks that you may have left around. But now that you've done that, look at what you've made. You've made a simple and really good looking ball drop in Minecraft. Now obviously add the TV if you would like. I go over a little bit of how it's made within the overlook if you have to skip to the tutorial. But anyways, let's set it off and see what we have done. So just click on the button and sit back and watch it go. Now obviously you can count the numbers, but as you can see, it works. And it looks insanely good. Starting off the new year of 2022 with a spectacular redstone show. Now this is insanely good looking, and I would recommend you do this on a tall building at the night time. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this was simple enough for you guys to actually make on your own. And once again, I tried to make this as simple and as easy to make as possible. And I hope I have taught you guys something and how to make this. But anyways, I hope you have a great new year, and I hope you start 22 off with a bang. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hoping to keep posting within the new year for all of you guys. Thank you, and peace out.